So hi there, good day again. This is AJ at Ketron USA, and today we're going to talk about the advantages of having or using an arranger workstation such as the Ketron Event or the Event X, which is a model version of the Event keyboard, and a workstation such as the Yamaha Montage 7. One of the major advantages when it comes to using a workstation is it has a feature called Arpeggios, ARPs, right? And Yamaha have gone a long way, extensive as a matter of fact, to make these present and very, very usable on the new Montage M. One of the advantages of the arranger, especially when you're dealing with Ketron, is having that live sound. And so what I'm about to show you is actually close to impossible to produce on either one of these by themselves. But when you combine them together, it gives you a very, very unique tool together combined to be able to create music, in which case your brain, your limitation is your brain for the most part, because you can now create music out of this world. Let's do something together, for example. So on the Montage, I have this sound here. I'm going to go to the Montage screen real quick. You can see that. It's called Wave Explosion. I've done some minor changes in terms of setting up the various split points, as you can see on the screen there. Okay, but for the most part, this is what you are looking at over here. So why I did the split is because I want to be able to play lead voices of the Montage up here on my right, and on my left I want to be able to control the arranger features that are coming from the Ketron Event X. In other words, play a chord and have the event do the rest for me. In this particular example, let's start off with something very, very simple. Okay, I'm going to go over to the Ketron and put all the volume down for the voices, the lead voices, because I want the lead voice to come out of the Montage right here. So what you're hearing right now is the Montage M7 in this particular case. Okay, so this particular sound, Wave Explosion, comes with Arpeggios. You can see right there, whenever you pick a sound that has ARPs associated with it, the arpeggio lights up right here as well. Also, the motion sequencer lights on and off as well too. So within these particular voices, I can actually change and have motion sequences playing along, which control the various effects here in real time. So let's listen to just the Montage right now, okay? Just the Montage. So that's the sound that I'm getting from the Montage. Now, the good thing about the Montage is it has this scene. So in each of these scenes, I can have different variations of that same sound. So in scene 1, for example, I have this. In scene 2, I have this. In scene 3, I have this. And these are just what? Snapshots of different parameters and settings set up in real time, so that when you're performing, all you have to do is recall that particular scene rather than trying to change things on the fly, which you probably would do at home anyway to begin with. So these are some of the scenes I have for this particular sound. Over on the Ketron side, I have this new coming up with the AjamSonic Pro 2 package. Most of you have been asking for more stuff. You can never have enough styles and enough content when it comes to using an arranger workstation. So the AjamSonic Pro 2 package should be out in under 2 weeks on our website. I'm going to put a link in the description below for you guys to be able to go there and access this. New live drums, new live bass, new live chords, and new live guitars and arrangements as well based on your requests. I know many people have been asking for things like country and shuffles, also asking for pop, especially trying to play modern music. So look out for Pro 2 package, which is coming up very, very shortly. But without much ado, this is one of those styles in there. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and take down the drums, take down the bass, take down the chords, and I want to just leave the real chord, okay, which is going to be the real chord that you're going to see over here. Right. So now, in this particular case, as you can see, when I change my variation A, B, C, and D, it's calling up the various real chords. And in this case, I also have a real guitar playing. So I'm going to have that on my left over here. So when I play this chord with the key start, I'm listening to that nice reggae guitar, okay? So let's show you how the screen looks like on the Ketron Event X. So just stop and think about this for a minute, what it will take for you to try to produce that live guitar on this instrument here, because that was performed by a live player. And the beauty about that is I can control that using the Montage, and you can hear the arp. If I turn off the arpeggio here on the Montage, okay, bring in the bass. That's a live guitar player. Bring in the live drum. Again, I'm controlling that with this. All right, so I got the drums up, I got the bass up. Let's have the chords. Do a drum fill. Now let's bring in my arp here. Scene 1. Add the motion sound. Now, let me show you what's happening behind the scenes. A lot of people, I can see some messages coming through about how you have them in sync. So you have a MIDI cable that goes MIDI out from the Montage into the back here, MIDI in on the Ketron, okay? And right now on the Ketron, when I went over into menu and I went into MIDI, let's just go to the screen so you can see what I'm looking at. So let's start this all over again. I press menu and I go into MIDI and I go into utility right there. You see what your screen shows you, right? So the MIDI clock is set to out. So that means that the MIDI clock of the Ketron is being driven by the MIDI clock of the Yamaha. And so that means that when I go into the Yamaha right here, if I go in the top of the screen, let's go over this way so you can see what I'm looking at. Oh, the top corner right there, you see where it says 85? That's your tempo icon, okay? So that's, let's go in here and make that a little bit bigger. Okay, so in the top right-hand corner, if you tap on that 85, it brings you to the screen. So this tempo is actually synced up to the 85, which is the tempo which is on the Ketron right there. Right? Or actually it's the other way around, because this is the master, the Yamaha is driving the Ketron. So at 85 here, when I put the global tempo, so that regardless of which sound I pick, the tempo will remain fixed, because most of these sounds have their own independent tempos. Most of these arpeggios and motion sequences have their own independent tempos that have been programmed within them. But I don't want the tempo to be all over the place. I want the tempo to be generalized. In other words, when I change the tempo once, it should apply to any sound that I pick, okay? And then that tempo now gets synced up to the Ketron. So now when I press the key start, there you go, okay? I can get the Ketron playing, right? And now the arpeggio of the Yamaha is actually synced up together to work with the Ketron in real time. And so too is the motion sound. Okay, so let's look at the Yamaha screen for a second. Get out of there, get out of the tempo. What's the screen showing us? The various parameters and the various voices that are being used for this particular sound as well. You are still on the Ketron. Scene 3. Again, that live bass player just makes you want to dance, okay? And these are the features that the Ketron offers you, which Yamaha doesn't. And when I add the Arpeggios, which the Yamaha offers, that the Ketron does not, you can then make excellent music. Here we go. And to make things even more interesting, I can also add Ketron voices, which I'm going to do right now. So watch this. I'm going to use this slider to bring up the lead voice just a tad bit, and the second voice over here on the Ketron. So now I'm going to play both. Just live chords. Bringing live drums. Live bass. Chords and all. I mean, this thing gets to the point where you kind of lose track of time, like we're doing right now, but we're going to keep it short, right? So that's the whole idea, being able to use arpeggios, which are found mostly in workstations, and being able to use style elements or style parts. A lot of times what happens is when people get an arranger keyboard, they just walk in and start playing right away. But when you tear down some of those elements and use just what you need, you can actually create music indeed, especially with having the Event X, because it has live parts, so live music components, live bass, live drums, live guitars, live harmonica, live sax, you name it. And with the AjamSonic Pro 2-pack that's coming out very, very soon, you're even going to have more content to be able to use, especially if you live in the western parts of the world, the United States, Britain, and therefore in other western countries, because we're using, or we're developing more and more styles that can be performed in that part of the world as well. Not to leave out the other parts of the world, we're also going to add some ethnic sections, some ethnic beats, and some ethnic sounds to the Pro 2 package as well. So another video, we're going to talk about exactly some of those contents and just give you a sneak peek as to what's coming up very, very soon. So that was one example I wanted to show you there. Let me give you another example. In this point, I'm going to go into the montage here, where it says performances, and I'm going to go into the preset. And so this is what I'm doing right there on my screen. If I can show you the screen of the montage, you can see that we have the tempo which has been set, okay? And that's the particular sound that I've selected for use on this performance. So let's see if I can kill two birds with one stone. There we go. All right. So that's the sound I picked up in this case. Again, if you look at the left section of the keyboard, you notice that the ARP button is on. So this particular setting does have an arpeggio, but it doesn't have a motion sequence, right? So I'm not using a motion sequence in this one. You can already hear the kind of, this is coming, all that coming from the montage, okay? Take out the drum here. set up. I'm going to try one other one here with that has motion control. Okay, so let's go in here to my montage and let's look at that real quick. Go over to keyboard number 2, ANX sound. I'm looking for sounds that are going to be in the motion control category. Hybrid synth, right here we go, motion control. I have a sound here that I modified a little bit. That's called, I think it was called Super Glider. Okay, it's a very nice gliding sound. You can see how the wheel actually controls. Okay, so this is a very nice one. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and pick. Let's see, look a nice EDM style over here. Let's see what we have. Let's see here on the Ketron. Okay, and we're going to see how we're going to spice this up together. All right. Just again, to give you an idea of how you can actually do a lot of things when you're using a workstation in combination with an arranger keyboard. So in this case, I want to speed this up. This is going to be very, very hippie. So let's go up to, let's see, 128 as my BPM. Get out of there, and I want to test this out real quick. Aha, that sounds, yeah, it's okay. All right, so let's go over here. I'm gonna do. See, again, I can have movement in this voice. And a 1, 2, 3, here we go. notice the sound that we have right now, this particular voice, is being heard across the entire keyboard. So I want to go back here, split point. It's made up of 3 different individual voices. I want to set that split point to over there, okay? And then I want this voice to only be heard on the B section, which is to the right of the keyboard, right here. So for the first element, the second element, and the third element, or the first, second, and third voices in this particular set, or in this particular selection, I want all 3 of them to have the same split point over there. So now I'm done, okay? So now, if I do this, and if I play here, have again various C's right there, C and C2. The sweep is a lot faster. But why am I showing you this? I can then you can have fun with this all day and all night long. And you know what is unique about this? If you have the means of getting both of these instruments, or even the lower version of them, for example, you can still get a Montage keyboard, and you can still get a Ketron SD40 or an SD90, right? Or even the older Audi R4. Either way, the point I'm trying to make is, because there's so much movement in the music and there's so much in the arrangement of how you're doing this, it's practically impossible for you to produce this again twice. And that's the beauty about music, being able to capture the moment that you feel at a particular time. Right now you feel a particular way and you're in the studio and you're trying to arrange something. What you have in your heart, what you have in your mind is what's coming out to you as you're performing and you're playing, which is a good thing. However, you know, music is something which I always say, like in the words of Bob Marley, it's an international language. When it hits you, you feel no pain. This is going to hit you. This combination is definitely going to hit you and keep you in the studio spending hours and hours. not depending on some producer out there, not depending on some arranger out there, but depending on yourself. And having these right tools at your fingertips allows you to be able to create music. Now, let's see what we can do in spicing up this real quick here, okay? So this particular style, everything you heard was for the most part MIDI based, okay?